My mother died immediately I was born, and my father was being forced to remarry my stepmother to take care of me. I was glad that I had a mother figure and even a sister cause my stepmother had bore a child before marrying my father. We were age mates and always got along till we became teenagers. My stepsister suddenly changed towards me, and I noticed it was when a comparison started in class. The boys in our school were comparing the both of us, who was more beautiful, and everyone preferred me to her. I guess that made her jealous that my figure began to irritate her, but I still took her as my sister because we shared the same mother. That is what I thought till my father died. It was the most painful thing in my life because I was now an orphan. Life suddenly became very difficult for me as my stepmother drastically changed towards me and her daughter made life really unbearable. They showed me what it was like to be an orphan. Though I had successfully passed my WAEC exam, but my stepmother refused to further my education with an excuse that there was no money. But Benita, my stepsister, went to the university, and I can boldly tell you that I was the one that raised her money cause my stepmother will always send me hawking different fruit on my head, not minding if the weather was too cold or too hot. The day I mistakenly did not finish selling any of my goods, I sleep outside the house with no food or water. That was how I kept on slimming down and becoming darker than my normal self. And that made my stepsister happy because I was in no place to compete with her fair and busty figure. I began to feel ugly and ashamed, thinking no guy was ever going to like me, till I met Eric. He was my classmate back then when we were in school. He used to be the most handsome guy and my stepsister's crush, but nevertheless, I still accepted to be in a relationship with him when he asked me out, thinking he was meant for me, but no way, because he started visiting our house often to help me in some things that caused Benita to ask me about my closeness with Eric. I told you we were dating, forgetting how jealous my stepsister was. It wasn't long I told her of my relationship with Eric that I started noticing things strange happening around my relationship with Eric. Eric started misbehaving when he stopped coming to my house to visit me and also started avoiding me. I tried questioning him, but the distance anytime I see him, he tries to escape from me. But he always gave me an excuse for not having time till the day I saw him in my compound, seated on a bench with Benita in his lap. I was so shocked and broken. It was hard for me to confront them. I just waited till when Eric wanted to leave and followed him so I could question him about what was going on. But now I felt it was the most stupid thing I did, hearing how he pleaded with me to stop pestering him and that I am poor and ugly to be with him. He needed someone like Benita and not me because I had nothing to offer. After all, he said, I reluctantly returned home, thinking about what Eric said. But worse still, Benita came to rub salt in my wound as she closely and clearly warned me to stay away from Eric, that he was now her boyfriend. Someone like me could never have Eric as a boyfriend because I had nothing to offer. I felt she was right because I had nothing. No school degree, no beauty, no money, and I can't just think of offering any man that is not my husband my body. It wasn't even up to 1 week I moved on from Eric, accepting the best words of my late father that whatever was meant to be will be. And I accepted those words as I earnestly hoped for my stepmother and sister. I still hawking. I was in deep thought that I didn't see the overspeeding car. Hand was crossing the road, not hearing the constant honk from the car that almost hit me, but stopped. The fear and the shock of it all made me lose the tray of oranges I was selling, and at that moment, I started to cry, not aware the guy who drove the car had seen my eyes and my crying figure, cause I had lost so many oranges and I knew that my stepmother and sister were going to kill me if I didn't make the exact money. I cried as I picked up the oranges that fell from my tray to the ground, and that was when I realized that the guy who I almost got an accident with had gotten down from his car. He started apologizing for the accident I almost caused, and I just stared at his face, not in shock, but in surprise and admiration, seeing how handsome and rich he looks, but still yet didn't mind apologizing to a common girl like me. And I was even more surprised when he offered to pay for all the oranges, even the ones that didn't fall off the tree. I asked him not to worry, but he insisted and gave me more than the money. I uttered, "What's the price of the oranges?" He suddenly asked for my name when he was about driving up. I quickly told him, hearing his own name in return. Prince, that was his name, and felt sad that I was never going to meet him again. I couldn't sleep that night, remembering the incident. I just felt he was so different from Eric, who was still dating my stepsister. The next morning, I was getting scolded as usual by my stepmother for not greeting Benita, who was standing at the door, supporting her mother like we weren't age mates. Not until we all noticed the flashy cars driving into my father's compound. And immediately, my stepmother commanded me to go inside as he noticed it was the village elders and chiefs of the land that came down from the car, but not without a man. I couldn't see his face clearly cause I was rushing to hide carefully while listening to the conversation. It started with when my stepmother greeted them, asking Benita, who kept smiling and giggling to herself, about someone who among the elders, same I noticed with my stepmother. As I heard the delight in her voice when she impatiently asked them what they were here for, and it brought a loud deep laughter from the elders as a murmur that the eldest chief should give a reply to my stepmother's question, which he did, revealing that his son here. He patted the back of a young guy that I didn't see his face clearly, revealing that his son here came to seek for one of our hands in marriage. That was how my stepmother started dancing, and also Benita, who thought it was her. Same with me and her mother. Not until I recognized the deep voice that called my name, saying I was the one that he wanted to marry. I was so overjoyed. I couldn't hold myself anymore. I rushed outside, forgetting about my stepmother's warning not to step outside no matter what. Surprised to see the prince, who smiled widely on seeing me, as I immediately started greeting the elders, who started praising me, saying Prince had good eyes for choosing me, because I am going to make indeed a beautiful bride, as immediately asked for my hand in marriage. Shockingly, my stepmother and sister, who pretended to be happy, as they asked them for a little time so they could prepare me, make a good decision, but I knew it was a lie because I was ready to say a yes, but kept silent, watching the elders live with Prince, who made sure he had dropped a lot of foodstuff and beverages as a gift for us, and I kept smiling widely, feeling lucky, but not until they all left the compound. My stepmother immediately dragged my ear, asking me of my relationship with Prince and why I didn't tell them. I have seen the richest chief in our town, only the son, and I clearly explained how I met the prince, and it got Benita so angry that she began to hit and curse me for ever meeting the chief's son before her. But I didn't mind collecting the beatings because I knew that I was soon going to be married to the prince. Just listening to my stepmother, who warned me to refuse the prince's proposal so he could divert his focus to Benita, who smiled, happily thinking I would reject the prince so that he could be hers, as she seemed to forget she was still in a relationship with Eric, who noticed how she kept talking about the prince. Putting one or two together, he found that Benita was going to betray him, as she had deeply fallen in love with the prince, whom I didn't want to decline his proposal. The next day, when they came to the house with the elders and chiefs, I stared from the window, gazing at the many chiefs, elders and the prince who had come back to hear my reply for the proposal. And I felt so bad and sad because my stepmother was never going to allow me marry the prince, as she kept warning me about saying a yes to their proposal or even getting married before her daughter. That is why when I got outside standing in front of the chiefs who asked me about my answer to their son's proposal, I had to force myself to reject the proposal, making my stepmother happy but acted disappointed in me, like the chiefs also. Same with the prince, who looked really broken-hearted, even as my stepmother immediately tried switching me with Benita, who stood beside her mother smiling widely on hearing as her mother kept lying, saying they should forget about me and that I already had a lover and Benita doesn't. She even added her imagination of Benita still being a bona fide virgin, and she started to make the chief's interest in her daughter, till we all heard loud shouts from angry-looking youths who just entered our compound, being led by Eric, who ignored the mischievous signals Benita secretly sent with her eyes and was bent on exposing Benita and her mother. He told the chiefs how tricky my stepmother was, stating the fact that he was very sure she was the one who warned me not to accept the proposal because she doesn't want me to get married before Benita. He also told the chiefs and the prince that she wasn't a virgin at all and was one of the guys she has been offering her body to for a thing or the other. Eric wasn't even done talking. A guy came out saying he just found that Benita has been cheating on him with his brother just for money. Even the brother came out saying Benita also slept with his best friend just for a wig. Almost all the youths came out confessing the bad thing Benita had done to them, making my stepmother and sister so shocked cause they never saw all this coming. As the chiefs and elders badmouthed my stepmother for not being able to train her own daughter properly because of so much shame Benita had brought to herself. Even I, who was still standing, was shocked at what Benita had done with the boys. I never imagined such for my stepsister. I didn't know that she was not just a betrayer, but also a flirt, and her mother supported their uncanny relationship just because she wanted the best for her daughter, but she was silently killing her daughter. I truly felt bad for Benita and the way she was being disgraced, and also my stepmother, because they really heard a lot of insults and accusation at them. The prince later asked me for my hand in marriage since everything has been clear. I accepted to marry the prince and he was so happy. That was how I got married to the prince and left Benita and her mother in a sorrowful state.